OK, let's get on with the action. Time to cross over to Queensland's east coast and the Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane for France against Fiji. Our commentary team is the former Scotland captain David Soul. And first, Nigel Starmer-Smith.
Well, it's all the signs of being a real thriller here. We've got the two most flamboyant sides in world rugby here in this magnificent Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. And for once, we've had a real summer sun today. But it's a cool, bright evening here in this fabulous stadium of 52,500 people, home of Queensland Rugby League, as the teams take to the field here. And great excitement in the crowd here. We talked about flamboyance. We talked about volatility, of course, of those teams. We've got elegance in France. We've got power, but not always discipline amongst the Fijians. Alongside me is David Soul. This is one I think the crowd and ourselves are going to enjoy hugely, and everyone at home.
Yes, I would agree with that, Nigel. It was a bit of an anti-climax back down in Sydney for the opening game of this tournament, but we've had 2 or 3 cracking games this afternoon, and for me this is the mouth-watering high of Saturday's rugby. As he said, 2 fantastically flamboyant sides, love the ball in their hands, and it's just ideal conditions for open running rugby this evening.
France, remarkable, the return there in the centre of Tony Marsh, New Zealand born, almost a year out since having cancer, an operation in March and a recent knee injury to follow. Extraordinary. Fly half Michelin, key figure there that you're going to have to keep an eye on, because he's been preferred to Messeron. Worries about that side, they don't have a dependable, experienced goal kicker. But Fiji here do. Nicky Little, the fly half, he's going to be a big man in this Fijian lineup. They've never beaten France. They've had a few battles with them in the past, but watch for the wingers, De La Salle and Zhao Zhao, both 7 stars. The goal king of Little, and some very basic physical requirements up front, but do they have the technical know-how and cohesion? Prop, incidentally, wait till you see him, Joel Veiteyaki, now 36, and he's slimmed down significantly over the last few months. He was 162 kilograms, he's now only 21 stone.
Put a summer on the Atkins diet, doesn't he?
Probably twice the size of David Soul alongside me. Of course, the former Scotland Grand Slam champion prop, as the teams now line up. And this opening match of Pool B, which is of course Scotland's group, they'll all be riveted. Their first game awaits them tomorrow.
The members of the Rugby World Choir will now perform the national anthems of France and Fiji.
So La Marseillaise it will be, written by Rouget de Lille back in 1792, the French national anthem. Beautifully sung, and what a study in intensity, the concentration, the perspiration of those French players. Now the Fijian national anthem, Blessings Grants, O God of Nations.
And we
Did you ever hear more beautifully sung anthems? So, the formalities are over. We'll be back with the action in just a minute. You're back with us. The excitement mounts. And I just wonder, David Soul, which France has turned up tonight? Which Fiji has come here tonight?
Well, I think the biggest challenge for Fiji is going to be in the front row. France will certainly look to dominate the set pieces, got very robust, very muscular tight five, and a fabulous back row as well with Beth and Harry Nordicki and Olivier Magna. And if they can get the Fijians going backwards, they're going to dominate this match.
And I also think people should quickly put out of their mind the recent result against England. I say recent, of course, it was back in September when they were soundly beaten at Twickenham by England. That was not France that you're going to see tonight, is it? Not in names and not in style of play.
No, this is the real McCoy this evening. Much more like a full-strength French side.
A lot on this man's shoulders, really. Frédéric Michalak, just 21 from Stade Toulousain. He's got the kicking duties too, without Gérard Merceron on the pitch. And Alain Roland, the tension mounts, the delay is over. Alain Roland, the referee, puts it underway. Michalak, the first to kick. And the Fijians in the white strip, scrum half, Masese Rauluni. How will they settle? How will they get decent possession? We know they can run, we know they can pass, but so can France. In possession for the first time. Dropping just outside the 22. And the follow-up, rather poor effort from Michalak, allows Fiji to set it up midfield. Well, part of the very big, powerful, but perhaps not quite so mobile front row is Tayaki. Back for France. Aurélien Rougerie waits his an awkward bounce, recovers it, but challenged by Zhao Zhao, who sets it up. Robust Fiji, but possession for the captain, Fabien Galtier. Watch for quick hands. Michalak the pass. Confident. Well, confident, yes.
Yes, they are. They're running it back at the Fijians. Some misdirected kicking by Michalak, I think. A little bit long. They need to be able to put pressure on the catcher.
And the penalty for not getting up after the tackle, getting away from the ball. Tidy enough from Nicky Little. Quite a character, this fella. Now with Saracens, but he's beaten via Sale and Dax and Pontypridd. And has a Fijian record point scoring tally of 597. That's a very big plus for Fiji in tonight's battle. Michalak, only 60 points. 10 conversions, 8 penalties. National record. So the line out first. Greg Smith here plays his rugby in Waikato. Of course, one of the big problems for Fiji is so many of them play outside Fiji. They have a team dispersed all over the world, really. And the ball won back by France here. Fabien Galtier, 19th times as captain prior to tonight. And Michalak off form with the kick again, straight for Zhao Zhao. Crowd love it because Fiji will open up whenever they can. De La Salle, tremendous pace, bundled out, but the ball out on the floor. They love to run.
Well, I thought De La Salle was possibly looking for a penalty there. Not a lot of room to work in, but a lovely long pass by Zhao Zhao to open the game up. Beautiful slices.
Something we've come to love, of course, in their great love, which is seven-a-side rugby, which they have for so many years been in the world, well, top 1, 2. De La Salle, one of the real stars in that shortened game. Well down from Aaron Nordicki. Up the middle comes Josian, Yannick Josian. Possession lost. I think it was knocked on. Now it's a penalty to Fiji. I get the feeling that the home support here is going to come down to the men in white, by and large. Do you not?
Well, certainly wandering around this wonderful stadium beforehand, there were lots of people in what you might call party-type attire. Not the sort of traditional stuff you'd expect in a rugby match.
But great to see. The flair is, well, it seems to enter all elements of the Fijian character. This was the breakdown here. This is Yannick Josian. And they really failed to stay on their feet. And the referee, Alan Rolland from Ireland, has given a chance for Nicky Little. Head on to the post, not easy.
And of course, physical defence, a real trademark of the South Seas. Loves the contact.
We'll see a bit of that for sure. So a chance to go ahead. It's looking good. Oh, that's a great strike. Nicky Little for Fiji. 4 minutes played.
Well, I think any anticipation of an open game, you might have to wait a little bit for the formalities to get over with. It's very physical, it's very aggressive, it's very tight up front at the minute.
Good play, knocked back by Rawanga. Ball second row forward, flipped away by Rauluni. This time angled from Rambeni. Nicolas Bruce, one of the young, brilliant attacking back three that France have on duty here tonight. Wingers Dominici and Rougerie back him up, and that's gone too long, and there'll be... well, you wonder, don't you? Is he going to actually try and run it? Lingairi, straight his own post. It is a 22, but you never know with Fiji.
I think even he realised he was on his own with 6 Frenchmen in front of him that time.
Common sense. So here's Little. Rougerie. Oh, good running. Great acceleration. That's a key part of his game. Galtier, short side. One of the class acts in world rugby, Olivier Magne, up to the 22. The riposte comes from France. The penalty certainly does. Not releasing.
Well, I think Southall would penalise. He went in with a crunching tackle on Olivier Magne and drove him backwards. He was a little bit reluctant to let go.
Yes, once they've got you, they want to hold on to you. We've seen that a few times. So it is a penalty. And now this is going to be a very nervy moment. This was Henri Rougerie's run. I mean, it's a joy to watch. The balance, that's the key, isn't it? The acceleration that goes with it with these French runners.
So there's Magne. Look at that, though. Got you. Now you need to roll away from the tackle there.
Michelak has the penalty then to follow this infringement. There's a chance to level it. It's about 30 metres, allowing for the angle. Hasn't had great success as a kicker, but the onus is on his shoulders now for the 21-year-old. It's cool. It's very cool. 3-all. 6 3/4 minutes played. That will do him a heap of good.
Yes, and as he was lining up that kick, there were a lot of boos going around this Suncorp Stadium here in Brisbane. Sure indication of where the loyalties lie.
Stubby kick there. Quite, well, I was going to say quite effective, but it was Toulouse who got to it first. Then the back row support. Extraordinary thing about this player is that rolls to touch, how beautifully angled, just dropped it, is he's really a scrum half and played all his early international games. Player of running flair, but why is it France can always seem to produce guys who can do both? Hookers, props, scrum halves, fly half, centres, wings, fullbacks?
Well, I've absolutely no idea, but I think it makes an awful lot of difference when you've got the sun on your back and you're playing rugby as opposed to playing it in torrential rain, as you sometimes do from time to time in Edinburgh.
That's why you were so versatile in Scotland, David. So the edge of the height, you can see, is on Fiji's side, 6'4" average. Not forgetting the heaviest man in the whole competition is here, at 21.5 stone, in the person of Vei Tayaki. Will not miss him. You won't want to bump into him either, nor will anyone. France threatening here. Loose ball, untidy play by Fiji. But they've got hold of it, just. Mosese Rauluni. course, Raluni, the number 9, you'll catch sight of him. His younger brother, Jakob, has retired, and it's been one of those unfortunate retirements whereby all came down to financial arrangements. Player who played with Nicky Little a record 27 times for Fiji at halfback. There's the weight advantage. Well, it's not just because of Teyaki that they've got that advantage of significant proportions, Fiji, but it's who uses it, isn't it?
Absolutely. A lot of this comes down to technique.
And that's the problem that Fiji have often had. Scrummage collapse. Perhaps we're seeing early signs of it here. Technique, more important than sheer physical size, and it's kickable range again. Galtier quickly summons up Michalak. What do you think of the new tight jerseys that Fiji aren't wearing?
Well, I don't think they could get one big enough for Joel Teyaki.
But as for the French one, sorry, here's a technical moment.
Yeah, well, I think the referee penalised the loosehead prop Richard Nyholt for Fiji there. He said he just dropped his shoulder and was trying to bore in a little bit.
I'll get your view on these tight shirts and whether Scottish props of old would have enjoyed wearing them. Meanwhile, this for the lead. Michalak. Well, crowd, it's silly. Very silly. Michalak treated that kind of booing with disdain last time, may be so again. Absolutely, no better answer than that. Beautifully struck, and well, he's showing that he is on song, he's cool and confident with his kicking, and France lead 6-3 after 10 minutes.
And goal kicking so important in this competition. Good teams. We saw Carlos Spencer earlier today missing an awful lot of kicks, and that, if there is an Achilles heel in that All Black side, I think it's possibly goal kicking. Johnny Wilkinson, so supreme for England.
It hasn't caught light yet, this game. It will. Naivo. Advantage to France. Knock on given. Clearance by Yannick Josian, and the referee lets it become touch on that far side. Well, Fabien Pelouse there, but they've rested Bruze from the first squad tonight. He's on the bench, but he's only just recovering from an injured shoulder. Well, we've had the odd nasty incident, of course, in that opening game. Always quite worrying when you see players coming down so awkwardly, as happened yesterday with the Australia game against Argentina. Well, happily the news concerning David Giffen has improved. Oh, bit of fisticuffs here, bit of a flare-up. Who did what to whom is uncertain. Looks of innocence all round. And Galtier.
I think Galtier was upset on Greg Smith, and Greg Smith tried to wrestle the ball away quite quickly and possibly caught Galtier.
The kick is for Fiji. Nicky Little holds the Fijian point scoring record by some considerable distance, and has been in this side over a period now of 7 seasons, 52 caps. And they have the attacking line out on France's 22. 12 minutes gone. You're joining us here in the Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane, the opening game in Pool B. Japan, Scotland, USA, the others to contest this group, and it's Fiji trailing 6-3, but attacking now. The ruck forms, you heard the shout. Fiji looking for some magic movements. Kulevu, first time on the ball. He's held on the 22. Running at Michalak though, overpowering the French fly half. They can slip it now. Men out wide, Little knows it. Good move. The drive on, the good tackle. Advantage being played, and again Fiji run it. Little, huge pass on from Rwanga. Eventually the ball slips away from the grasp. France though stretched wide in both directions, looking a little fragile at times. That's a poor clearance attempt. Awkward bounce for Zhao Zhao. He'll look for the running option. Bang. Big tackle though. And it's a penalty to France. again, reluctance to get rid of the ball once he'd been tackled, costing Fiji dear there from Zauzau.
Well, there's a buzz of anticipation goes round this stadium every time he gets the ball. And that time he was in open play and he just couldn't quite release the ball. His supporting runners weren't there quick enough. I thought Harry Nordicke was quite lucky not to be penalised for going over the top there, but in the end it was Zauzau who conceded the penalty.
Well, he's become the new star, Zauzau. Out of Sevens Rugby into Auckland and the Super 12 win, just 2 caps at 15. His first against Argentina. The penultimate game for Fiji before this World Cup. And by the way, they gave Argentina quite a run for their money away from home. Never easy in Buenos Aires, and it was 30 points to 49. And that meant they must have had some success against the big Argentine team. Meanwhile, Michalak with Galtier getting some attention. The captain. He's been such a key man. Missed the England game at Twickenham. How they missed him. Michalak now has to contend with the booze, but hasn't worried him so far. He's again struck it superbly, but wide. But clean strike on it, but missing the direction. 6-3 it stays.
It's a much more conventional game, this, I think, than people anticipated. Both sides driving tight to begin with, just almost like two boxers feeling their way around the ring in the early rounds.
Yes, it's simmering, not exploding. Michalak from Toulouse. Little Gary Owen, nicely weighted. Taken by Koyamamboli. Flipped away. Rambeni. They are very versatile, these Fijians. You'll notice anyone will play scrum half, whoever's there first. Ruskan Dominici. Good hands. The counter-attack. Tuilevu. Over the head of Rougerie. The race on here. Zauzau chasing Rougerie. They're trying to cut him off. That's late. I'm not sure that the referee will penalise. He might. The ball's come back to Fiji anyway. And now they're in striking distance. The big man is Naivo! Apanisa Naivo! For a moment I thought play might stop because of that seemingly late charge on Rougerie. Referee looked closely, said no, and on went Fiji. The hands were good, the man was big, the try was given.
And that really has set this stadium alight. Just what they were after, a little bit of open play. There's Rougerie. Now, Zauzau comes in, he doesn't actually follow through with the tackle. You don't see it in play there. But Rougerie misses his kick. There's a lovely inside pass here. Brilliant by Tuilevu. And then terrific strength to drive over in the corner.
Oh, this was superb. Naivo. Well, his 5th try. And my word, he used his weight to good advantage there. And after that brilliant little reverse pass inside from Tuilevu. That's the kind of little moments of magic and enterprise and spontaneity that characterise Fiji, and the crowd are chanting Fiji, Fiji.
Well, I think Fiji sense that they can do something quite special here this evening. Might just give them a little bit of confidence.
Well, they've come together from all over the world. 8 of them play here in Australia, 7 in New Zealand. 23 altogether. 3 in Japan. Here's the conversion attempt by Little. Not going to come in enough. Is it? No. 8-3 though. Sorry, 8-6. And the first try of the night. I bet it won't be the last. That was Apanisa Naivo, who plays for Kaneka in Japan. That's really got the game off. France stung. Bernard Laporte will not have expected him ever to be behind in this game. There now. Fiji. Never beaten France in 6 meetings. And just to push, David, I mean, you say never beaten them, I mean, last time they played it was 77 points to 10 to France just a couple of seasons ago.
Well, France were winning Grand Slams a couple of seasons ago. Quite as convincing in the RBS Six Nations last year, unfortunately.
Fabien Palouse waits Olivier Magne behind. Those anxious faces that we saw in the anthems. Anxious still. Galtier now. Long feed wide to Josian. Good support. Ibanez. Now again with Michalak and the inside pass. Well recycled. Rougerie. Bit of momentum for France. And kept going by the good drill of the pack here. Just outside the 22. Michalak. Half gap. Beautiful hands. Well slipped. Not quite straight on the bounce to Magne. Olivier Magne. Bit lateral, but looking for support. Still France possession. No one out there. Yes, there is. I can see him. Ardenodiki, the number 8, the Basque. Now with Magne. If anyone's going to put France in the driving seat, it'll be that back row. Or maybe the men wide out like Dominici. This is Betson. They're getting in the groove, aren't they?
Well, France just bringing a little bit more shape to their game now. They're retaining the ball well, they're keeping driving, they're actually putting a little bit more pace on the game. And while they aren't quite breaking down this Fijian defence quite yet, there are beginning to be signs that they're getting in behind them, which will be very encouraging for the Frenchmen.
Just joined us, it's 8-6 to Fiji here in Brisbane. Spectacular try by Fiji has given them the lead against Michalak's 2 penalties. Little, the early penalty, and all the makings of a great encounter here. The gauntlet's been thrown down by Fiji. That kick, though, by Rauluni into French hands. And the ball well slipped. Now the little show, that time by Josian, the centre. And Fiji are being stretched this time. But a reluctance to let go of the ball has cost France dear here. And I think it's Magne, is it not, who is a little disturbed by that call. Quite sure the intention there. Brusque has time to clear it. The penalty, it's almost a must if you're going to kick that it goes into charge for Ladders now anyway. Certainly you get the line out, but they've got it anyway. But not quite so far upfield as they would have wished.
Yes, it was a bad mistake not to get touched by Little at that one. He needed to take the pressure off his forwards. He was doing a lot of tackling. Good defending.
So it was more than a little mistake.
Thank you, Nigel.
Ardenodiki, nice work, Galtier. This time, Josian being used very much as the battering ram. Galtier, good pace coming round. France knock on just, and it was, I think, Ibanez. Advantage played here. Fiji will try and make something of that. Oh, breaking through 2 tackles. That was to Ilevu again. Over the head of Nicolas Brusque. Which way is the bounce going to kick? He's going to have to play it. And retaliates well enough. Nicolas Brusque from Biarritz. Man who's always based his name on his game on his hero, Serge Blanco.
Well, as soon as you see little breaks in play happening, the Fijians begin to look enormously dangerous.
Absolutely. Less effective at the set piece, but France getting plenty of possession. Fiji in some ways living on scraps. But you see, even here, they'll want to run. That'll be the first instinct. Well, nearly always.
I think the difference is in the quality of possession. Actually, when you look at the statistics, it's about 50-50, but the quality of the French possession is far better than the Fijian possession. And it's been a little bit scrappy from time to time, the Fijians. When they do get the ball in broken play, they just look so dangerous. There's the possession, about 50-50. Fijians have been in their own territory for most of it.
Line out just inside France's half. edge, not so tight. Poop standing off, but Gaultier finds Frédéric Michalak. Up comes Lingairi. Good follow-up tackle by Rougerie, who'd come all the way across onto the Fijian fullback. Their backs to the wall a bit again, Fiji, as France come on the short side. Arinordiki, oh, big tackle from Rambeni. What's Nicky Little done? He's offside.
Yeah, he was offside at that ruck. But you can just sense the Fijians getting a flavour for the big hits, and the crowd, the gasps, and some of them go in. So I'm very glad I'm up in the back seat of the stand here rather than down there.
They'll be very much at home here, wouldn't they, with the Brisbane Broncos. You can see now what happened. There's Arinordiki. So not the tackle that was penalised, the tackle of Rambeni, but that fact of Little being offside. This for the lead for Michalak. First time from that side of the field. 8-6 Fiji lead. 3 points on offer. Michalak, the new kicker, has done it again. So he's still in the groove. I think that's 3 out of 4. France lead.
Yes, and they needed that to get back into the game, to get a little bit more settled. They're winning good phases of play, but they're not just getting in behind these Fijians as much as they'd like to be.
Well, I think a significant thing for Bernard Laporte is if Michalak continues in this vein with a high percentage success rate, I think he'll have answered his major problem, because Messeron is, of course, primarily a kicker, but less creative, less, if you like, in the French running tradition, and I think he wants to exploit his backs outside, and Michalak would be the better man to do it, because he also offers his own incisive running abilities. So it's going Michalak's way at the moment. The lead has turned back to France. 9 points to 8, and we're 26 minutes into this first half. They're beginning to get back in some sort of rhythm again. The good setup was by Jean-Jacques Krenkar. And back on close quarters though. Little moments that count for so much in the crowd here. Every decision going Fiji's way. Fabien Palous there. 80 caps for France. 8 seasons of quality second row forward play. One of those who was here in 99, not here, but in the World Cup in 99. 7 of the French squad.
Keep the binding up both sides here, please. Fellas on the hip. Hold, crouch and hold. No. I want you down, please, White.
Local man here, number 9 for Fiji, Osese Rauluni, plays for East's club here in Brisbane. He's played in the Suncorp Stadium before that. Oh, that's beautifully done. Terrific arc of run taken up by Rambeni. I've been impressed with the midfield here, but dived in, number 7. You might have heard the referee, Salawa, dived in, and France want to run at them. Here comes Josian once more, very much to the fore in the midfield. Gaultier just looks either way. To Michalak, floated through behind Zhao Zhao, and kicking back over the goal line.
Well, I agree that Michalak looks quite composed when he's got the ball, but his kicking has been a little bit curate's egg this evening. Some very good kicks, and 1 or 2 nice high up and unders, but that was aimless. It just gave away possession, it gave away a little bit of territory.
Yes, and this is a very difficult balance, I think, for Laporte to make. He has not got an obvious answer to fill that big query position, the number 10. That's a bit careless by Arinordiki. Imanol, proud man of the Basque Country. Oh, Michalak upended by Zhao Zhao. Not a dangerous tackle either, but a Fijian tackle. Michalak, Betson, the big tackles are coming in again. But this time, the breakthrough tackle on Pelus just saved the day, otherwise he's clean away. Still the tackle's coming, Dominici outside wide. Couldn't hold it, knock on, no advantage yet. And none coming, but we're getting the big hits are coming in. And just to remind you, while we have this little break, that we've got another match coming your way later on, which is in England's group, and that's South Africa against Uruguay on ITV2 after this one finishes. That'll be at 12:45. So lots of excitement on this wonderful day of rugby, and incidentally, there's a website. You get lots more information on that as well, itv.com/RWC. So lots to come, and lots of information available on the ITV website, itv.com//RWC. The tackles are knocking people down a bit, but I don't know. I just think that they're still not getting clean possession, Fiji, and France, in a way, as you say, kicking away good possession, not making the most of what they've got.
Oh, I think that's right. They're just beginning to find their shape, the French. Just can't do it enough.
Territorially, spent most of the time here, deep inside the Fijian half. Fiji feeding off small crumbs. They're diving in again, this time the captain, Ali Peretti, Govi Virata, looks again to all the world as innocence personified, but that's a penalty chance. France won't worry about how the points come.
Oh, and the way Michalak's kicking, it's pretty much a certainty. He's stroking the ball very nicely. And Fiji just has to be a little bit more disciplined. There you see, just lying over the ball, and you can't do that. You can make the bridge, you can stay on your feet, but you can't just go to ground. They just need to be a little bit more disciplined about how they're defending at ruck and maul. Well, the tackling's absolutely magnificent.
Nicky Little waits as his opposite number lines up this kick of goal. 9-8, Michalak's 3 penalties so far. Tonight did any other kick dates. Perfectly judged, no wasted effort, you might say. It's just crept over the post, and France stretch to a 4-point lead with 10 minutes of the half to go.
And of course, bonus points so significant in this World Cup. Fiji end within 4 points of France, but lose the game, they pick up a bonus point, and that could be crucial in a group like this, which could be actually quite tight at the top.
Yes, worth remembering the point scoring system in these games. 4 points for the win, 2 for the draw, and bonus points on offer for a side scoring 4 tries, whether it's the winning side or losing side, and 1 point for a losing side who get within 7 or less of the winners. Here's a wonderful breakout by Nicolas Brusque. They're beginning to look impressive here. Ibanez, Betson, Galtier, Michalak. Back inside is Krenka. Beautiful return pass, just got it off the ground in time. Outside the 22. France beginning to take something of a control, and again it's that wealth of possession. France appealing that once again Fiji had wrapped the ball up, but the referee said no, he couldn't possibly have moved.
Well, Olivia Magno is wrapped out by about 3 Fijian tacklers. There's no way the ball is going to come out of that one.
Greg Smith, the injured man, as we see that sequence again. This is good, isn't it?
Yes, Nicolas Brusque. If that pass had gone to hand, that might have caused the alarm bells really to ring. But then great inside pass from Michalak coming up into the loose-head prop. Krenka looks on outside and passes inside. Krenka moved on to Magna, and he got wrapped up. Is he speaking of French or English?
Well, I don't think it was terribly nice. There's Greg Smith. From Waikato, parents are Fijian, grew up in New Zealand. He captained Fiji in the last World Cup. And Fiji made it to the quarter-final playoffs. Gave England a bit of a run for their money, and France in that one, beating Canada and Namibia. France, of course, runners up in the whole thing. Here comes France on the short side. Dominici racing into the corner. Quick hands, quick try. Well, they've brought him back. He had been out of contention the whole of the last 2 seasons of Six Nations. He's missed 16 tests, back for a tour game this summer. And Dominici flying home for France's first try of the tournament.
And very straightforward, very simple. Came from set piece. Nice little bit of work up the blind side. It was a good French scrum. And there you see Brusque, I think it is, or Michelak, feeding Dominici 2-on-1. Very straightforward.
His 13th try, and by coincidence, the last try this man scored was against Fiji 2 years ago. Not a bad time to score your comeback try, is it?
Very good. Very good.
It was Dominici. Well, who needs reminding of his talents? One of the stars of '99, that try against New Zealand in the semi-final. It's a rather happier field now for France. 17 points to 8. Michelak. No, he's wide on that one. Looks far better from the harbour side, ironically enough, being right-footed. He's better from the right-hand side, which is really the wrong way around. Anyway, 17-8. And the signs, yes, well, we saw them, didn't they, that they were beginning to get some control. Ah, little kiss of the ball. Long time since he got one of those. Tries, that is. Beautiful conditions here, wonderful pitch. Home of Queensland Rugby League, and this is Rougerie looking very much at home. Now they're beginning to break out in style. On goes Josion. The follow-up is there of Galtier on the short side once more. The little chip through. Dominici chases again. Pressure is on Lingiari. Lingiari on his own line. The ball is loose. No one can get hold of it. It's going to be a penalty to France. There's obstruction of all kinds, and there's a... I don't think they've heard the whistle, or else there's a personal duel going on. A bit of wrestling. My word. Yeah, and things can happen in a flash with France, can't they?
It's very difficult to see what was going on there.
Absolutely.
Lingiari made a real hash of it, going back for that loose kick through. It was a lovely kick through by Michelak, and I thought he had the ball covered. Fijians normally so good at scooping those up and launching a counter-attack.
Michelak has just received a little bit of attention. That's the reason for the hold-up. There's Fabien Galtier there. Great captain, 20th time as France's leader. Stade Francais. 13 seasons, most capped scrum half in history. Here's the front row. Here's the wedge, the forwards. The human shield to the line and scoring the try, unopposed virtually. Who are we going to give that to? Front row, I guess. Well, no, it's in the hands of Emmanuel Ardenoudeki, and France beginning to cut loose. And that was sheer good organisation, great forward power.
Well, Galtier was deciding whether to go for goal or to go for the try. Eventually went for the tap option. And just a little bit of a change direction. All the weight, all the drive came up the right-hand side of that driving maul. Fiji trying to defend the middle of it, but as soon as it went up the right-hand side, spun off a little bit, it was just a straightforward cruise to the try line.
This has been well rehearsed, hasn't it? This is a very clever piece as we watch the conversion, add the 2 points as France begin to stretch ahead after 36 minutes. They're now up to 24 points to Fiji's 8. They're beginning to rule the Brisbane Roost.
And there is a sense about France finding their shape to the game. They're beginning to put phases of play together. They're beginning to get a little bit of control in some of the set-piece situations, causing Fiji to make some unforced errors.
The complexion has changed. I believe brief flourish by Fiji. Looking some long time ago.
Having said that, if this game does become a little bit looser in the second half, Fiji definitely have the firepower to make things happen.
They certainly do. What they're not getting is good first phase possession. That's untidy. Diving through is Jérôme Quillon. Galtier, Michalak, this move, and on via Tony Marsh. They're getting there quicker, they're getting there in bigger numbers, they're getting there in a more cohesive style. This is well directed. Those things don't happen by chance. Michalak, then Josion, using the big man up the middle, which is Pelouse, of course, and now they have a man wide here. Olivier Mann, and Rougerie, has he room? He might. It's a bounce into the corner by Dovi Verata to save the day. Oh no! Touching goal, yes. Didn't have control of the ball. I'm sure it's not a try. Yeah. Definitely it's a need for the discussion, but...
Well, here we are again.
Oh, well, actually...
That was a very quick decision not to go to the video ref.
Well, he's got his hand out. He's got his hand on the ground. Out of play. I don't know.
Well, that wouldn't be a scrum.
No, it wouldn't. You're quite right. He just said touching goal, didn't he? Ball went, no, he then said it went forward. Well, it's strange, isn't it? Because you get some decisions where you think, well, no need to go to the television judiciary. And then you get one like that.
Well, it was like Pauleto's try last night. They spent about 5 minutes looking at the video.
Clear cut.
And it was definitely a clear cut, that one, actually. I'd like to see again.
Not easy for Alain Rolland. And it, I must say, it fooled me a bit too. Got underneath the tackler, really, didn't he?
Absolutely, but it looked as though he grounded it beforehand. And I think the touch judge had a role to play there.
France mount the pressure. We come towards the end of this first half, about a full minute to play. That's including injury stoppages. Now they're going to drive, but they're confronted by a collapsing Fiji scrummage.
Signs that the Fijian scrummage is beginning to weaken, even with the big fella. Tiaki on the tight head. Well, very much in control.
136 kilograms, but need technique as well. Problems perhaps on this near side with Nijholt against Jean-Baptiste Fuchs. They spin it wide. Josion held up. They're stepping up. There's a knock on. I was going to say the French were stepping up, and we're in sight of that try line. Desperate pressure here, but Fiji love to counter-attack from their own line. They need a bit of luck to get away with it. Lingairi, just the hands were quick, but not quick enough. And it was all done, and well, they had no space. But there we are, the final play belongs to Fiji, but the half-time score belongs to France. And here in Brisbane, it's France beginning to take control. Excitement ahead for sure. It's France 24, Fiji 8.
France have a 16-point cushion at half-time. They lead by 24 points to 8. Do you think Fiji would like to break it up a little bit, make it a little looser, and they take advantage of that?
I think that's exactly what they're going to try and do. I think France have actually, after the first 10 minutes, established a much tighter pattern that suits them, and they've got the confidence and they've scored the tries and they're now sort of leading. I think Fiji will try and break that up a small bit, apply pressure and pick up some tries.
Yeah, France are controlling the game, controlling the tempo. They're going to dictate that. They're going to put the squeeze on in this opening 10 minutes. Try and really take the tempo out of Fiji's game, really, and really get their fitness to take its toll.
France have been impressive so far. Let's get the second half now with David Soul and Nigel Starmer-Smith.
Yeah, the panel is absolutely right. More of the same will be what Bernard Laporte has asked for. France ending up so effectively that first half. But you're back with us here in Brisbane. We're waiting for the next 40 minutes, this first match for both these sides, France and Fiji in Pool B. The big ask for Fiji now. They need the ball. There's a knock-on though, and they might get a scrummage here. And I wonder whether, you know, we're going to be talking about levels of fitness as well. France, very intensive summer. They spent a lot of time training in the Alps, up in Val d'Isère, mountain work and so on. Fiji, I know they've done their best, but I doubt it'll be in the same calibre in terms of levels of fitness.
No, I think that's right. Even though they do have some professional players, it's going to be a really tough problem for some of their tight five to sustain the pace going through into the last quarter of the game.
They've got the start to the second half they wanted. They want points urgently. 24 points to 8 it stands, and now they've got a penalty. They've got Nicky Little stepping up, and they will have great confidence that he'll put this one over from about 30 metres out. Nephew of Walter, wonderfully talented centre, and Nicky Little, now a member of the Saracens club, based in Watford. So if you want to see more of him, you know where to go. I've seen a lot of him in Sale and Pontypridd. Huge talent. Fiji need this, and they've got it. Crowd love it. So up to double figures now, and big lift of the half too. Big morale booster that, David Sol.
Definitely. But as the panel was saying at half-time, the looser the game is, the more it'll suit Fiji. France will want to just keep the shape, keep controlling all the phases.
Good take by Naivo, the try scorer for Fiji in the first half. Away by Rauluni. Oops, just recovered. Spent disaster midfield there. Fiji concede possession again. Josion's been busy, this man from Toulouse here. But how wonderful everyone, I think, in the rugby world feels it is that Marsh should be there in the centre alongside him. Fiji running out of defence, they love to do it. Lingairi tries to create extra men, and he has. And now it's on to Zaudau. Zaudau on the outside. We've seen this in 7. There he goes. This is magic. The crowd love it. Oh, Rupeni Zaudau Nibuza under the post, and yes, he's flying. He's flying. They're back.
Well, that was just a fantastic piece of individual brilliance from Zaudau. That is what the Rugby World Cup is about. They wanted to see this fella, and he's just shown what he's capable of. No wonder the All Blacks wanted him. It was a lovely long pass, floated pass from the midfield, and broken play. And then he's got an awful lot of work to do, and Rougerie is no slouch. But look at that lovely step inside, and he's so strong as well. There was no way Nicolas Bruce was ever going to stop him once he was wrong-footed.
Worth coming for that alone. I'm glad you were there to see it. And the added points open up the game suddenly from 24 points to 8 at half-time. It's 24-18. That's a different story, and what a moment. I love watching this player. He's started 7s, and that was a triumph for 7's final Hong Kong proportions, wasn't it?
And it's so important, the 10 minutes either side of half-time. Fiji have just got a dream start to this second half.
Kaviva Rata, their captain. And they are temperamental, we all know that, and if they're on song and if they're in the mood, as with the French, that's the beauty of this contest. You know, they go up and down. The Latin temperament, the Fijian temperament, very much of a kind. And they can both play wonderful rugby. Joy to watch. Fluency, style, skill, pace. Not always the technicalities, but perhaps the more important thing. Pelouse up the middle. Fabien Pelouse. Third most comfortable Frenchman. Great inspirational captain to himself. Now Michelak. The big hits, the pincer movement. But France edging closer. They're up to the Fijian 22. And the ball in Galtier's hands to Michelak. Now to Josion, who's been the principal mover. Here's Betson. Betson with the dummy. Saw that the marking was there on Brusque. The follow-up is by Thion, the second row forward. And the game has really taken off. The start of this second half, thanks to Fiji. Now away by Galtier. Michelak up the middle now is the big prop for Jean-Baptiste Poux. Inside the Fijian 22. Roll away, roll away. They didn't.
Number 9. Come here, please. Come here.
And what did Raul Looney do at close quarters? There's a word more than
Do
just
not restrict the ball coming out.
yeah,
Your leg was on the ball, restricting them playing fast ball. Please, roll away when I ask you to roll away.
Yeah, getting out of the way. Cost Fiji dear already in this match. It stopped the momentum of their return in the second half. 3 points gift in front of the post. David.
Yes, indiscipline again from the scrum half. And disappointing to get a converted try under the post and a penalty within about 5 minutes of the restart. And go Fuchs going in, and you can see the scrum half. Well, you have to say it's quite tricky for him to get away from there. There's about 4 or 5 bodies sitting on top of him.
And to use his leg, as he's accused of. Here's Michelak. Formality. Well, that stemmed the tide. For how long? 27 points to 18. France, comfortable 9 points. Well, no, not comfortable. It's not enough. Is it, David?
Well, not with another 34 minutes on the clock.
Yeah. 28-19 in the World Cup of 99. It's got that sort of shape again, hasn't it? It's 27-18 here. And plenty more to come. Well, David Soul said it'd be quite a lot of points. He's right. And here come France. That was forward. Okay, says the referee. No, it wasn't. Marsh is down. That was definitely forward, but you get the luck, you ride it. Now there's a penalty. Is offside.
Skipper, please. Okay, skipper. That's twice now. We've had offences when they're trying to play quick ball. Okay? I want you to roll away from fast ball. Please don't send me down the road. I don't want to go, okay? Thank you very much. Penalty here.
Well, the referee saying you're stopping fast ball coming back. Any more of that and there's going to be yellow cards. Which I think is the right way to use a yellow card for persistent infringement. But I have to say, I think he had an element of judgment in terms of his adjudication of whether that pass was scored or not.
Crowd a bit unhappy, as indeed the Fijian players, but there is tight rules for referees. They want to lay down the law, and clearly interfering with the ball coming back is costing Fiji dear. It might cost them another 3 points here from Michelak. It's 27-18. Is it straight enough? No. Well, off the upright. Cheers of relief from the crowd, no doubt too from the Fijians, as Rambeni touches down with a sigh of relief, no doubt, for the 22. Michelak on the counter-attack. Toulouse sets up. Lining up out wide, Magne, Brusque, Dominici, elusive little eel of a player, but totally enveloped, swamped by 4 Fijians. But he's tied them in. Galtier, Michelak. And again, big men up the middle. Once more, it's Toulouse. There's advantage for Fiji. There was a knock-on close quarters. As Toulouse puts the hands on his head, looks to the skies, and inwardly chastises himself.
The crowd actually applauding the referee for once. So they awarded that scrum to Fiji.
No ball. Crouch and hold.
Nihol Greg Smith by Tayaki. Talked about his weight, the tight head prop for Fiji, but he's also the second oldest in the World Cup.
Steady, steady.
Well into his 36th year. Number 8 is David Verata, the captain. Recule for Miosote. He's gone backwards to try and get up a bit of pace. Now's another penalty. It's becoming a bit of a worrying sequence. They've not released again. It's that little bit of hot-headedness, the lack of discipline in the key moments, and Salawa has given it away.
Well, again, that came from untidy possession at the scrum. Number 8 having to pick up and being put under pressure. He's got the tackle. Frenchman goes in to try and release the ball. Hanging on to it for dear life there. but indications that they are under pressure in the set piece, and that is where France will want to capitalise.
So up steps Frederic Michalak, 6 out of 9. That's his tally. Reasonable. That's good. 7 out of 10. Yeah, they've settled to 70%. And that puts France far more comfortably placed than they were, 5 minutes ago. 30 points to 18. 10 minutes gone in the second half.
Quite a completely different complexion for 24-18.
And I never thought it would be Michalak, really. He was going to be kicking them out of trouble. Great supporters as well as wonderful players. They are the ultimate rugby entertainers, I have to say. And if you see them on the IRB 7 circuit, you'll know what I mean. They are a joy. But in 15s, somehow they, despite the great efforts and the way forward from Mac McCallion, their coach, the former Auckland man, who has done a lot to bring them forward, they still seem to lack the important disciplines of forward play, especially. But we wouldn't want to temper their nationals like that. The Vivarata making something out of nothing with great hands. Up in the sky goes Greg Smith. A little bit of mayhem.
Well, that was a tackle out of the Fijian handbook, wasn't it?
You know, the opening ceremony, there's that little sequence about one-eyed supporters. We've certainly got a few thousands of them here in the stadium. Yeah, Fiji can do no wrong. Here's the Galtier.
Shoulder on, shoulder on!
Fabian Galtier, smooth operator. Nicolas Brusque. I think it was Ian Evans who said at half-time, when you see this man in the field, he seems to make things work. He seems to, not only as a leader, but also as an excellent link, isn't he?
The French at times looking very composed. It's when they get 2 or 3 phases of play, generated an element of continuity, that they begin to look very, very dangerous. But they've only seen 1 or 2 flashes of that this evening.
12 3/4 minutes in the second half. Full house here in Brisbane, by the way, 52,500. 2 neutral countries for the locals, well, for many of the locals, but a lot of Fijian support, of course, in this multi-ethnic country. And isn't that great? I mean, France and Fiji should get 52,500 in Brisbane. And they're enjoying it too.
Absolutely wonderful for the World Cup. 81,000 last night at the opening ceremony, opening match.
Here come France. Michalak looking composed. Needs to maintain his kicking skills, and I think that will keep him in place. Fiji take it out of trouble. Good clearance. Erratic warm-up, really, France to this World Cup. The bizarre games, really, in Marseille. Over necessary jubilation at winning 17-16 against England, half a team, and then England over necessary excitement over beating France 45 points when they had half a team. Prior to that, beat Romania, lost to New Zealand, and Argentina very narrowly 2 tests in the summer. So it seemed a long, hard road back for Laporte's squad. But I do really fancy their chances if they can string together great performances. They can do it one-off. They need a sequence. Tonight, they're good in parts and mostly good. Galtier back inside our Nordiki. Rougerie on the burst. The tackles are good from Fiji. And this time, the biggest roar of the night. It's a penalty to Fiji. Not releasing the ball, holding that. Actually, poor guy. I mean, he went in at full tilt, but he'd only just gone down. I mean, come automatically.
Well, he did have two tacklers on him, and I think Mr. Rowland's been quite consistent in his application of that particular law, so I haven't got too much to grumble about.
Well, he's the flyer. from Montferrand, Aurélien Rougerie, and he flew in there. And it's hobbling a bit. And it looks as though there may be a replacement coming on. France again, Michelak. Man over perhaps. Oh, neatly done inside to Tony Marsh. Marsh, great return feed to his partner Josian. Josian all the way. Great centre work between the two. The man from Toulouse, Josian. Marsh, the remarkable returnee. And there'll be a special delight in the French camp for that. Great sleight of hand and turn of foot.
Well, you've been talking about Michelak's kicking, but his passing has been superb as well this evening. He's really getting his three-quarters going at pace. Watch this pass out there, just in front. Marsh comes on the inside, and then lots of support. Josian stays in a good position, and he's got plenty of gas to run in. But great interplay by these French three-quarters.
Josian's fourth try for France, and one that I think really takes them safely out of sight of Fiji. Not that far away, but you never know how Fiji might come back. But that really was, as you say, the work of Michelak combined with the two centres. It's an operating success for the midfield. Class, sheer class. And here's the man who started it off really with that beautifully weighted as time pass. Frederic Michelak at 35-18. That's a great strike off. That's the icing on the cake, as they say. 37-18, 56 minutes of the match. Makes it about 23 to go.
Yes, and that's France's third try this evening. One more and they get a bonus point, so they'll be hungry for that. But good interplay by the French three-quarters.
Good element, that, isn't it? Keeps the players playing, keeps the team with the incentive as well, and also to get within 7 keeps the underdogs playing to the last, which they normally do anyway, but an added incentive. You know, there are points on offer even if you lose. Two tries for Fiji, 3 for France. So Fiji, there's 2 tries, they get a point, regardless of the final score. Michelak, again, good timing, and again, it's some great running. With the replacement who's come on is El Horga, very versatile player. El Horga, wing, fullback, pops up, first run for him. Good speed. Born in the Ivory Coast. Who's says Alain Roland.
Well, he blew that whistle very quickly. It was a lovely long kick. It was still in play. I wasn't entirely sure that advantage might played some advantage there.
Guys, I know you're getting tired, but don't be sending me, please, okay? I know.
So what will your fellow Scots be making of this?
Well, they'll certainly have clocked Bautau's pace, that's for sure. But I think they'll be thinking, if they can play a disciplined game when they get to their final match against Fiji, and they can retain their shape, control possession and control the pace, they'll have enough to cause them some problems.
Well, mentioning that, of course, we've a wonderful day of rugby tomorrow. I mentioned Scotland because Scotland will be there tomorrow, but it all starts at 8:35 on ITV1 when Wales play Canada, followed by Scotland versus Japan, then England versus Georgia. And that one kicks off, England-Georgia, at 1 o'clock. So it all starts at 8:35, and England, Wales, Scotland, all in action. Don't miss it. And don't miss the ITV website, where you can get lots more information. itv.com/RWC. And we've had another very interesting replacement, because the fullback Lingairi has come off. And a man, if you've ever watched Sevens rugby in your life, or been inspired by Sevens rugby, you'll see a guy called Waisali Serebi, who I think in everyone's book would be the greatest Sevens rugby player who ever lived. And he, catch side of him, will be wearing 21.
Engage.
There's your man. But France.
Oh, Harry Norder keeper kicking himself for that. Scrum right in the middle of the field on the 22. Absolutely ideal position to attack, and he knocked it on.
Hold. Engage.
Rauluni and
Shot forward off white. We play back to
went
blue.
forward.
Oh, lost it white, forced it forward.
So 2 back row errors, 1 aside, gives France to put in again.
That second one came from terrific harrying by Fabien Galtier.
Take the mark here, fellas. Stretch and hold. Engage.
Just joined us, we're in Brisbane. And it's 37-18 here, the opening match of Pool B. 37-18 to France. Trying to be
Double knock on, first by blue, then by white.
almost too clever. First knock on was by
blue,
France.
then by white, from the down,
Almost
white
over
ball.
elaborate, but they're instinctive, aren't they? They do these things off the cuff. And there's one of the early try scorers, Christophe
Second,
Dominici.
wait, hold, engage.
Pickups by
Okay, back off
Koya
blue,
and
back off
Mbole.
blue. Replay.
They're in trouble in front of their own posts, and
Back to white.
France.
Blue over the top, playing it back.
Well, that became a guessing game. Who's got the ball? Didn't seem like anyone had. Rauluni. Blue over the top, said the referee Alain Roland. Here's Nicolas Brusque. Knock on. Backwards, says the referee. That's not. That's forward. Second time right. He's a bit bold saying the first one wasn't, isn't he?
Well, the crowd were
telling him.
telling him that the first one was a knock on, and then when the forward pass came out, they were essentially applauding his
No ball, we have no ball, we'll stay up.
Some judgment.
Some kind of
No
justice.
ball, no ball.
37-18. 19-point margin, and of course early on in the second half it came right down to just a matter of 6 points the difference. 24-18. But the wheel has turned again since then. Now Nicky Little chipped through and chased. Back goes Rougeray. Absolutely buried by... Sorry, El Holger was back there, wasn't he? Yeah. Oh, and there's a little bit of tension breaking out, a bit of a punch-up. All a bit sort of posturing. Now then. Yes, El Holger, of course, was the player put under pressure. But we may have some trouble now. There's been a reaction or two. And across comes David Verata and Fabien Galtier. It's going to be a scrum. No one yellow carded or anything, but he's quite right. It's begun to get a bit flary, hasn't it?
We played some football. Positive off both sides.
Well, it's been physical, but it's been good-tempered so far, and they don't want to things to deteriorate and to get a little bit scrappy now.
Yes, little Pepito El Holger. Rather an uncomfortable initiation to World Cup rugby for him. He had one good run earlier.
Speed! Stay up!
Tempo's picked up again. Probably quite sensible there to calm it down, just give those extra seconds for a set piece move, a line out, heads cool a little. See France as a realistic challenger for the title?
I think they're one of 3 teams who could lift the Webb Ellis Trophy, and at 14-1, I think it's worth a tenner each way.
Me too. I really do. I think England-France, if that were to be a semi-final, would be as difficult as if it were England-New Zealand, if that were to be a final. Long way before it becomes that either way. Here's the hero of the home crowd here. Zhao scored a try no one will forget. They lost possession then. And it's gone to advantage for a knock-on. Woof! And Michalak was dumped in no uncertain times, and now the tension has broken out. There are punches being flung in separate little individual battles, and really, what a shame but we sensed there's something simmering, and it looks as though Olivier Magne has scored. Oh dear, David.
Yes, it's particularly unsavoury, that. There was a very big tackle went in. And Dado came in off the right wing, flying into some sort of confrontation, a bit of retaliation by the French.
And is it Betson, the other man, who's down? I think it is. Betson and Magne, two key men in France's colours, and this is worrying. Well, here we go. What happens first? This is the very robust double tackle, and that's high and round the neck on Michalak. And now all three officials in consultation with each other. Then the reaction comes, and tempers flare, and all semblance of order is lost momentarily. Well, this is unseemly, and oh dear.
Well, whether the referee saw it or not, you may well think that there'll be some sightings going on.
Precisely, and of course there is a very strict disciplinary operation. And it's not just what the referee sees, as David Toll says, it's what the psychiatrist says.
7 blue, coming in, and white 11 coming in, both punching.
So Dado and Magne, both
We had a
punching.
retaliation from white, first up by blue, retaliation by white. Okay, the penalty was going to white for the first infringement. It's been reversed to go to blue for your retaliation, and the two boys are getting 10 minutes. So that's 7 blue
7
and
blue
11 white.
with 11 white, yellow cards. And that was really only the start.
I will be there.
Well,
7,
that's right, and
7.
I'm a bit worried about Betson, because when you saw him on the ground, there was a Fijian with his hand in his face, and you just wonder what was going on there.
7 blue, 11 white.
But these both
Betson's on his feet.
7.
both teams need to calm down.
Yes, I've explained to the skippers, the two of you, both punching, you're both getting yellow cards. We're restarting. Back on the 10.
I wonder what may follow.
Well, you hope there'll be some control. Fiji just signs of indiscipline throughout this game, but through frustration, I think, as much as anything else. Both sides must keep a lid on it. France, in recent years, have been very bad in situations like this, but they've been far more disciplined just in the last 4 or 5 years, and they just need to make sure they calm down and play rugby.
Interesting thing is, really, the man that, in a way, that caused it all, not for his own fault, it was Michalak, the tackle on Michalak, and he's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Harry Nordicki, the Basque warrior from Pau. What a find he was, this 23-year-old, 6'4", could be a key man in this whole tournament. Beautiful show of the ball, and it's away with Josion back inside. Oh. Sleight of hand and speed of foot.
Well, there was a fabulous run by Josion down the right wing there. Here we are, great try by Harry Nordicki. Betson, great pace, but watch Josion down the right wing. Little step inside, ball in one hand, beats Saravi. And that forward pass.
Fiji deliberately trying to keep it in play. It's, well...
We have a maul!
No infringement given. Obviously Fiji has to take risks here, they need points. Get some kind of point out of the game. It's 37-18 to France. Galtier. I think at times one or two of the players try not to get tackled, just shifting the ball up before it happens. That time Suabu, the big replacement number 8, came in for Fiji. Remember, they're down to 14 apiece.
Went forward off white.
Knock on by
Shoulder
Fiji.
down, blue ball.
Raulun is a little battered.
Okay. Number 3 white, please. Number 3 replacement. 3.
France twice runners-up in the World Cup, third
Time out, Donald.
once and quarter-finalists. And we are saying a farewell to the heaviest man in the Rugby World Cup for this game anyway. Big cheer there is for Joeli Vaitayaki. Well, he's lasted pretty well. He's made a comeback. He had not played for 2 years international rugby, a 2-year gap, and then comes back at 36. And he's stripped down from 162 kilograms to 136 during the year of 2003, and that takes a bit of doing, David.
Does indeed. My mother would say I'd rather feed him for a week than a fortnight.
As we get further replacement as well, Marika Vunimbaka. Tends to happen in the last quarter of an hour of a match. Vunimbaka is another paceman. Here come France again. Galtier standing off this time. Now the loop round by him with Josian. Josian wide to Brusque Elhoga. And Brusque has gone down. Elhoga is all right. And sets it up again. The long feed. They're queuing up outside Marsh this time. Marsh bursting through. Oh, beautiful work. Lovely pop pass to Josian. And there's the centre partnership that was missing when they played those earlier games this summer and when France were misjudged. Class.
I think Tony Marsh was a big miss for France in this year's RBS Six Nation. He takes the ball up, he's a very direct runner, he's got great lines, and it allows the players around him to play off him. But the French using the width, you didn't see it, the build-up, but they used the width so well. And then they brought it back, and that's what stretched Fiji, that's what created the gaps, and that's what allowed them to score their 4th try and get the bonus point.
Yes, the bonus point already safely in the bag, and the victory pretty well assured now with 14 minutes to play. It's 42 points to 18. It's now 44. As Michalak adds 2 more. And France, well, they score tries that others can't. That was great.
Great width. I mean, they moved the ball from one side of the field to the other. Just completely stretched the Fijian defence.
Well, for Fiji, it'll be something of a respite to have USA and Japan next before they end up what could be a very important game in this pool with France with Scotland in Sydney. France will go on to play Japan next and then Scotland. Very interesting pool, this one. Advantage to Fiji being played for the knock-on. Rambeni. Advantage still, says the referee, and there's not going to be any now, just as well. They had 3 unmarked Frenchmen of significant pace, with only 1 Fijian in defence.
Well, Greg Smith won't want to see that bit on the video. He got the ball ripped off him by the fly half, Frederick Michalak.
Okay, number 5. Okay, sorry. Let's get her.
All right. Leoweri replaces Naivo, the man who scored the try that lifted Fijian hearts so early in the game. Goes the big second row. Nearly 17 stone. Leoweri takes his place. Fiji's ball. It's what they've been lacking most of the night, in truth. They've got runners. Good tackle on Rambeni. Being dangerous midfield. Tulevu setting it up.
Run away 5, he lost it forward right.
Michalak.
This blue from a knock-on.
Good hands by Galtier. Came very fast to him. This is Brusque. Oof. Almost too swift.
Quite lost it forward in the tackle here.
No advantage here. Referee Rolland has caused them all the way back.
White knocked it on in the tackle, he lost control. No.
Galtier's a big man for this team, isn't he?
Well, the French have had some generals who played at fly half, Jacques Fourou and Pierre Berbizier. Galtier falls into that sort of category. He's very good at marshalling his forwards, and he's got a terrific pass as well.
now 34, and maybe this is the last we'll see of the chef d'orchestre, who's popping through the gap there. Last year's International Rugby World Player of the Year, rightly so, Grand Slam season. Last year, 2002, of course, last season.
Number 4, Cap de Bleu, Cap de Bleu, Cap de Bleu.
Very good French from Monsieur Roland. Quatre Bleu, remplacement.
I thought it was Sacre Bleu.
And Bruze's back. Bruze, who's been certainly bruised, had an injured shoulder which made him in doubt for the first couple of games of this World Cup, but there he's packing down now, and that's the depth of experience they've got. Bruze, Mexican wave, trying to lift Fiji, I guess. They get a lot of waves in Fiji.
Well, that's been the problem for Fiji this evening. They've not been able to get any continuity, and they've lost a lot of balls forward, and they just need to put one or two phases of play together. And it's very difficult to score tries when you're camped in your own half. France have been in their half for 2/3 of this second half, and it's made it very, very difficult for the Fijians.
10 minutes to play. France 44, Fiji 18. Well, it was never destined to be a one-sided contest, and Fiji have certainly had their magical moments. But France, very well organised, it seems, very determined. They have an elegance and imagination, but they also do have power and a lot of discipline, particularly up front where it's needed. Aaron Nordicki, such a big plus to Les Tricolores. Galtier's chip. El Horga. Bounce beats him and Serevi. France again. Ibanez now with Betson. He's fully recovered, as you can see. Well taken by Josian. Dominici. Oh, beautiful offload. Josian behind. And for Josian, that's 2 in a row, and he's been outstanding, I must say.
Yes, he's been very impressive for the French in the centre, Josian. Lovely little inside break from Dominici to set it up, though.
I just amend what I said, just looking down at the sheet, that's 3 in a row, isn't it? Here's Betson, then Dominici. Speed of action, speed of thought. Hat-trick, Josian. So it's been quite a big come down for Fiji, but it's been a big upward turn in the graph for France. David Soul.
Yes, it's a comprehensive victory for the French, and that's what they really needed. They needed to rebuild their confidence. They've got 2 fairly easy games. Well, 1 easy game coming up, and then they've got the real test against Scotland, and they've given a lot of their first string players a very tough opening match, and they'll be getting a lot of confidence in that fact.
So up to the 50-point mark now, 51-18. And remember, it was in the second half, not that long ago, that Fiji had cut their way back to within 6 points of the French total. And that remarkable return of fortunes early in the second half.
Come here, Mark. Curtain hold.
Well, the 10 minutes must soon have elapsed for Vaudau and Magne. This has been 14 aside, of course, the last 9.5 minutes. Nicky Little hadn't the pace to exploit it. Made the good gap. But maybe the legs are a little weary these days. Tuilevu, just collared, just tackled, I think, by Josian. Ralouni, unable to clear it away. France have the better organised pack, the better foragers. Now short side, Brusque, El Horga, can't hold. Touch, far side, just.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, a lack of continuity. They're just not able to put the phases of play together.
Hold him there, please, Walshy. Walshy, hold him there.
Well, here's a player I think had been sort of left out by Scotland, by France, and ignored for quite a while. This one here, Christian Labie, and he's been in absolutely cracking form the last 2 seasons. Has worked his way back at age 32 into the French side and Stade Toulousain, and just shows really what depth they have in the back row. I think just like England, this is such a key strength for France. That's from and then you have Labie, just as you have the backup of Moody, people like that for England behind Hill and the back of the Larios. Some would say back row forwards are the key to the modern game.
Well, you've got to have a good tight 5.
Yes, of course, David.
And I think that has been the difference for the French this evening. They've had a very solid platform, very convincing in the line-outs. Not that there have been that many line-outs this evening, but they've really put the Fijians under pressure in the scrum.
Just got a bit of attention still for Iferemi Rawaka, or Rawanga as I should call him, from Lautoka. New significant find to the Fijian lineup as we look at the relaxed French players. What a contrast to how we saw them lined up in the anthem. Sparring freely and very tense. Oh, we're going to get another stoppage or another replacement. Well, there doesn't seem to be no one waiting. No.
Get that sorted out on the sideline, please.
He would have gone off if there'd been someone to take his place.
Okay. All right.
Didn't even want to go. Here's little Fiji running out of time, running out of ball, running out of space as they're closed down by the French three-quarter line.
Don't get aside.
Whoops. Rumbeni.
No. That's the last.
Little. It's gone down. Viaweri. France
knocked on first by White.
could have so clearly made something of that. They made the error. There's been obviously the odd errors. Opening game we expected.
Oh, 14 each for France and Fiji.
Okay, no ball. Wait.
Definitely an unforced one.
Engage.
Brewski slipped past inside to Yannick Josian. Just 24, Josian plays. Certainly made an early mark in this World Cup, first game. Faisali Serevi, rolling back the years. One of the few people who could beat 4 men inside a telephone kiosk. Magical, but the pace beginning to... oh, good play from Krenker. Serevi's age is beginning to catch up with him.
Still playing advantage. Advantage is now over.
At pace, Rumbeni. Drag on by the captain, David Verata, but no. Whatever edge there was, it's been blunted now. Inside from Michelak, clever angle. Ardin Nordicki tries to hand off Vunimbaka, caught just on the 22. Rescue time for Fiji. And rescue it is by Tuilevu. Away from Rauluni. Wide from Serevi. Now, Zhao, no room to get away. They're back into full strength now, both teams. Dominici, touch and goal. In fact, it's going to be an infringement just before that, as he held back.
I believe he would have got to the ball, but he wasn't held back. Okay, we go penalty.
It's going to be a penalty for obstruction. He was held back. It did seem to be a little bit of a tug. Soccer style, wasn't it? Imagine they all did in soccer, don't they? You can't hit in rugby. I wouldn't know either.
It's actually perhaps a little bit lucky they didn't get awarded a penalty try there.
I guess if the ball had stayed in play a little bit longer behind the goal line, it might have. So, I think we've run nearly all the changes that are allowed now, I think.
Remplacement 10 et 12.
Remplacement 10 et 12. So goodbye Michelak and goodbye Josian after a very good night's work, I think, on both of these parts. To be replaced by Damien Traille. Now there's another class act midfield, and the contender at number 10 with Michelak, Gérald Messeron. Well, he's only got about 3 minutes in which to make an impression, but here's a drive by the forwards, and they're making an impression on the Fijian line with the try. So straightforward, such power as Fiji, the pack disintegrated, swamped by the strength and organisation of the French pack.
Okay, let's get him go.
Ibanez,
Did you get number 9 there?
we'll give it to him.
Yes, I think the forwards will be very happy with that. They've laid the foundation for this victory for the French.
We get the other guy off.
Good scrummaging, strong defence, and rewarded with a nice driving try. Great take at the back of the line-out. Ibanez goes in. Very straightforward try.
Special moment for a front row, isn't it? They don't get that many.
That's about my distance, Nigel.
Gets longer as the night goes on. 56-18. Messeron, first kick at goal in this World Cup. Not on target, but not easy to come on. The first thing you have to do is kick from 40 metres. 56-18. There you are. With a man from Saracens now, formerly cast, and the former French captain. Special moment of him, and yes, even he can afford a little bit of a smile. Raphaël Ibanez at 30. Former captain, World Cup captain of France last time, 99. This has got increasingly impressive by France, but equally Fiji, one has to say, to keep it in perspective, have got just that bit more ragged, that little bit more disillusioned, and losing heart after that great resurgence after half-time. Nicolas Bruce, they're beginning to offload now with casual flair, sometimes a little bit ragged themselves, but I don't know, I like watching them play when they're bubbling and oozing confidence as France are now. Serevi.
Please stay up. Make no effort to stay on your feet, 19.
That's how the game started. That's how it's going to finish. Stay on your feet is the rallying call of Alan Rolland.
Yeah, it's been a comprehensive performance by France. Very accomplished, very professional, and very assured. And they'll be very confident going into the next game. And it'll, as I say, it'll set them up well for that very important match in this group against Scotland down in Sydney in a fortnight's time.
So this country of 1,710 clubs and getting up 250,000 players amongst its population of 59 million have made a very positive start to their World Cup. Twice runners-up last time. I still think they're a very good bet, certainly, to make the final. France in control, and Fiji never easy. Fiji an improving side, and bear in mind they're a population of less than 1 million, but in fact more rugby players per head of population than any other country in the world, some 60,000. It's a remarkable statistic, but they love sevens best of all, and somehow they try and play 15s as though it was sevens. They're learning fast, well, doing well under Mac McCallion, their coach, but they've been outclassed tonight in the end. But they gave us some great moments as we come up to the last moments of the match, and it looks like it's going to be Dominici to dominate in the corner and round it off in perfect style for France. Little Christophe Dominici. He's going for the television. He is. He's going to the television official, which is Donald Courtney.
Have a foot and touch before the grounding, please.
Just to check that he grounded it properly. Did you see a problem?
Well, I think he was just querying whether he had a foot in touch, actually. Here we are. Did he ground the ball? That's a try.
It wasn't his foot, was it, in touch?
No, that's a try. Yeah. No doubt about that.
Yeah, well, he's... Well, it doesn't...
Try, Donald, can I confirm try?
Yeah, surely.
Okay, thank you.
There it is. Christophe Dominici, who scored in the first half. The opening try has now certainly scored the final try. Race of try for Dominici. He takes his own tally up to 14. Hasn't scored since he scored against Fiji before this game, now twice.
And again, great interplay by the French. Lots of room for Dominici. He's always going to beat the challenge of Aroanga. And they're nowhere near touched. Good try.
Wasn't a bad effort by the number 4 covering all the second row, but good night for France. And Fiji, well, they'll have to fight another day. That's the final play of the match, the final kick, missed by Merceron, but nevertheless, the scoreline says really it's been a very satisfactory occasion for France. They came through, they get the bonus point. Fiji, so close early in the second half, just couldn't maintain the momentum. And so it ends this opening game in Pool B. France 61, Fiji 80. Good night from Brisbane.
Thanks, Nigel. So Fiji beaten again by the flying French, this time with room to spare. More on that shortly. Plus, can Johnny Wilkinson kick it? Yes, he can, in a couple of minutes.